I'm excited to be testing out a set of pastels from Grace Pastels and Colors. This is their mini peonies set, and it's a beautiful collection of rusty oranges. These pastels are so wonderful. They remind me of Blue Earth, but I love their larger size and less delicate feel. Today's lesson with this set will be the last in our monochromatic and analogous theme for February. I hope you enjoyed the different takes on color and our focus on using value to tell the story. Now let's head on over to the easel and get dusty. Welcome back for our last February tutorial. This month's theme was monochromatic and analogous palettes. We have done 5 of the 6 paintings, so today we are here for the last one. Got one spot left on the paper. So for this one, I'm actually going to be testing out a set of pastels from Grace Pastels. They are located, it says handmade in Italy. I don't remember if this shipped from Italy. I think it did. I'll tag them. You can buy from their pastels on Etsy, and I thought I would give them a try. So this is the set that I purchased. It's all these lovely terracotta colors. I did grab a darker one for this lesson because we do need a dark, but I'm going to use these 3 and this really light one for today's lesson. So we'll see how these work. All right, let's get started. So I'm just gonna brush some of this away from the last painting that we did, just to give us back our tooth on this side of the line. I got a little bit from a little cast fallen colors fell from the ones above. All right, so we'll start with this dark. So this dark one, this looks like a Jack Richardson, I think. All right, so we'll get our darkest in. All right, now I'm just gonna blend these in. And I'm purposely dragging them out so they extend a little further than where I just laid them. Because these are trees and there's leaves and vegetation behind them. So just wanting to give myself a head start on creating kind of that atmosphere that lives behind them. All right, here we go. First marks. Very nice. These are nice and soft. Well, this particular one is. We'll see if they're all the same way. Really liking it so far. I would say it feels kind of like a Terry Ludwig to me. I like the square shape. You can tell they're made in a mold. They've got the front has the color number and their logo. It is a little bit, the edges are a little bit higher on the front from pouring it into the mold. But that's not a big deal. If you just rub it on some paper, you'll take that off. All right, next color. This is just a little lighter, not much lighter. Just a hint more orange in this one. All right, now the lightest of this terracotta. Now these are really nice and soft, really liking how they're going down on my paper. The bottoms are nice and flat too. I'm not noticing any anything on the bottom that I have to, you know, kind of sand off to really use. Yeah, these might even be as soft as like a oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Blue Earth. I kept trying to say Blue Ribbon. Blue Earth. They might even be as soft as that because I'm just like literally dabbing it down and it's depositing color. All right, I have changed my mind. I am going to use this one as well. Let me get this in for my sky, and then I'll use that lightest one. So we're just mimicking the reflection down here in the water. I'm going to save my lightest. I'm going to just keep working with the darker colors because I just want to make sure I have everything where I want it before I come in with my lightest lights. I'm just going to put just a few dabs since these are so easy to just dab color on. I'm going to put just a few dabs kind of over my darkest just to give it a little bit of life. I'm going to come back in with my dark and just kind of build out some lines to represent maybe some branches or some things going on back in here. So this shoreline is a little lower. That one's right about in there. So wanting to make sure that the base is really the darkest. Same thing over here. Want the shore to be where we have the darkest colors. All right, so I'm gonna go to this lovely, lovely orange. I'm just gonna, again, I'm just dabbing. Just getting it kind of on the edges of this, the darker area. Just building it up a little. And then you're gonna have a bit of a shoreline kind of receding off into the distance. Let's see, we're down here. Just mimicking. Yeah, oh my gosh, I love these. I don't think I could do an entire painting with them just because they're so soft, and I like to layer my soft pastels over my hard ones. But wow, these are super nice. And the size is great too. They're a nice size. I don't feel like, you know, I spent a ton of money on pastels and then, you know, they barely last because there's not much there. These are a nice size. All right, I'll get some sky in here again. I'm gonna just kind of blend out the edges of my trees into this sky color, just to give them that feeling that they're kind of receding into the distance. Maybe it's a little foggy back there. Okay, I'm gonna just softly blend my sky. Let's see how these blend. Yeah. Absolutely beautifully. I was not surprised. It's hard to work this far down on my board. My tray is in the way. I'm gonna get creative with my fingers. All right, so now I'm gonna come in with, this is the lightest one from the set. I am also gonna use some white, some, pure white as well, but wanting to get this in here. This is kind of our water that's sneaking through here. So I'm gonna softly blend this sky out just a little again. Same thing down here. I don't want to blend it too much because I want to keep these nice little like striations that came from the pastel. But I just want to soften them a little bit. I'm going to get my shoreline in, so I'm going to take this is a new pastel. I'm going to use the long corner, not the flat side, but the long corner. And I'm just going to press it onto the paper. Just give it a little bit of a back and forth wiggle. This side, I don't know if the pastel's not quite level or if it's my crooked paper here. Try a different edge. Nah, I think it's my paper. Those are not flat. All right, I'll just do it this way. My line's not going to be perfectly straight, but that's okay. So there's my shoreline. I usually like my shorelines to be not this thick, so I'll come in and fix that in a minute. And then here is my shoreline over here. It's a little bit lower. All right, so I'm just gonna take my dark, just kind of go along this this big line and tighten it up just a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna use, this is actual white. This is a J. Luda. This is my favorite white that I've ever used. It's the perfect consistency. It's not too soft, not too hard. And I'm just gonna brighten up this water so we can tell that this is water kind of going back into there, coming out. Just creating a little bit of an S curve for the viewer's eye to follow. And then coming back in, just gonna do some real light, almost kind of scratches across here, just to give the illusion that, that our water is not perfectly still, it's moving. You want to keep these water lines horizontal. You don't want to let them curve. So really pay attention to the direction of your strokes and how you're holding your pastel, and make sure that you're not, you know, kind of going like a windshield wiper. Just pretty easy to do, especially on a longer stroke. So you want to make sure you're keeping your hand as level as you can. All right, so it looks like this white is a little cooler than this white. Oh, it's probably because I put it over top of this dark color. It's probably pulling some of that in. Okay, no worries. All right, so now I'm gonna grab a stump and I'm gonna see, yeah, so I can tighten this up. So stumps are really good at erasing pastel. So since I put this white on top of a dark, I can erase some of this white. And it's just gonna let that dark shine through. I'm just gonna real lightly just do this same kind of dragging motion I was doing with my, with that new pastel earlier, but it's picking up the dark and moving the dark around now instead of just having adding the white. So it's affecting all the layers now. And you have to use a really light touch. If you press too hard, you're gonna end up dragging your dark all the way across, or you may erase too much of your pastels. And if you do that, that's not a big deal. You can come back and just put them back down. I'm just gonna do the same thing up here, just soften up this shoreline a little bit. And I just wanna kind of gradually blend it out into the sky and into the shoreline on the other side. All right, and then I'm just gonna come in here and just softly do a little bit of erasing. And really all I'm doing is tapping the tip of this, but what it's doing is erasing some of these lighter layers and letting some of this darker kind of poke through, since I had put the dark down first. And that's just giving us a little bit of vegetation. It's a little too sharp. I'm just gonna touch it with my finger and just soften it up because we don't need it like that sharply detailed. Just want to create kind of this illusion that there's some, you know, some tree branches and things going on back in here. But, and you can even do this with a razor blade. If you have a nice sharp one, you can scratch lines into your layers if you have enough layers down, so you can kind of see these branches and grasses coming down into the water and up here into my trees. So this is a fun technique, but you have to have enough layers down, and you don't want to obviously press too hard because you don't want to you know, cut your paper. But it's a really fun trick to use to just, you know, get some details in there. I could probably do this for too many hours. Don't overwork the painting, Tiffany. little too much. And then I need to bring a little bit of my white back in because I scraped just too much of my white off. Here, it's a little too, again, it's just a little too sharp. All right, I think we're done with this one. Let me drop my initials on it. So this concludes our 6 lessons for this month on using our analogous and our monochromatic palettes. I hope you really enjoyed this. This was a ton of fun for me. If you haven't caught the other 5 tutorials, go check them out. The full versions are on my Patreon, and the shortened versions are on my YouTube. If you are not a Patreon member, I would love to have you join me. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you next time. Take care.